Russell has only ever had amazing new companion episodes. Rose, Smith and Jones,
Partners in
Donna
Crime.
again. So I suppose statistically he's going to have a little slump every now and again.
Yeah, so Christmas episodes aren't always good, so it's kind of hard to base Shooty's first episode.
Even the Donna one with him isn't. I mean, the Christmas, the Runaway Bride, it's good because of their banter. It's not good because of the story.
Yeah, where there's no real banter in this one. No. I don't know if I loved the chemistry. It was mainly just like they were besties all of a sudden.
I think that's what did it, was that we didn't really get a sense of who Ruby is.
I know what Ruby is. I know Ruby is an orphan.
Yeah.
I know Ruby has a family.
Past.
I know Ruby's mum had a bunch of kids, so Ruby grew up with a bunch of friends and is a complete lad and seems happy with
And
her.
as a musician.
Yeah, she plays piano. She's happy with her life as far as I can tell. I think what's nice about every other Davies companion, and I guess almost every other companion in general, is they all want to escape.
They need a reason to go somewhere. Yeah.
Because, like, we had Rose hated life. In 10 minutes, we knew exactly what Rose was like.
It's a wonderful episode.
She talks about, like, I don't just want chips. And it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
and then we've got
chips.
in Smith and Jones, we've got Martha. She's a fantastic doctor, but she's being held down because she's young and she wants to explore a bit more. And
she has an intellect. Well, initially there was meant to be this intellectual,
before she's
they just
lovesick
made
puppy.
Lovesick puppy, and then Donna's in that midlife crisis.
Yes, exactly. I think it would have been really interesting if we didn't have a young companion, because now the doctor's young and hot. How are we going to stop Millie falling for him?
Yeah, and then I suppose
are we going to get bagged down with romantic drama, or are they just going to ignore it and they're going to pretend that Millie Gibson doesn't think this doctor is incredibly hot?
Yeah.
Like I said, I know what Ruby is. I still don't really feel like I know who Ruby is.
No, I don't know who she is. I went in so excited because I was like, Russell always does amazing companion for first companion episode.
Yeah.
So I was expecting I was willing to give him a pass if he just wanted to rehash Rose. I was gonna go, it's absolutely fine, Russell. It's a light reboot anyway. Have your 10-minute montage of her being miserable. And I expected the full-on run and everything.
We get a lot. We still get 10-15 minutes of almost exclusively Ruby.
But it's not her being...
It's very much, you're Anafaris falling down all the time, clumsy.
Because
but also we know it's Goblins from the start, like from the very first moment.
We see the...
Yeah, I think it would have been interesting if they hid that fact maybe, even though people had seen trailers, sure, but we could think, she's been haunted her life, but also feels like she's only been clumsy for a few weeks,
Yeah,
because
the timey-wimey stuff of like, they were... It's like they were... I'm shocked he didn't do the analogy of like they've essentially been like prepping the meal with making you be clumsy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's like they're buttering you up. The idea that you've grown up being the clumsy orphan and then turns out the clumsy part isn't actually part of your character. Wouldn't that be a little...
Which feels familiar. I feel like... Is it Impossible Girl? I don't know. Something about like a companion always having something special about them, or like throughout their life.
Donna kind of has that. They all
that's what it must be. That it's the fact that Donna has never noticed aliens before. Like she's somehow always been in the middle of it but never seen it.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of that again. But they don't do that. They instead say for the past few weeks she's been clumsy, and all of her friends are like, "Oh, you have such bad luck for the past 3 weeks." And then, it feels almost unfair because it is a Christmas episode.
You want to be easy on it.
Yeah, but also Tennant's first episode was a Christmas episode, and that was a big pow. Like that worked really well. He was barely in that episode, and it's still quite strong.
Yeah, because you had the strength of knowing Rose and the families, then you were with her going, "Who's this new?"
Whereas this is basically back to season 1, episode 1, where everyone's new, or 11th Hour, where they're both new.
So,
but again, that chemistry felt a lot stronger in 11th Hour between Amy and...
They did it. It's weird because they meet briefly at the club, which feels like it just came straight out of Sex Education
very easily
season 4.
They could have so easily cut that dancing in the club episode.
I liked the this is a doctor who'll change his outfit from week to week.
I think it definitely was that he's going to change his outfit, but I think they went too much with it because, like, to me, the doctor has the same outfit because he's popping between time. So it's been 3 days for Ruby, but it's been 1 hour for the doctor.
Right.
Whereas in this, it really does seem like every 10 minutes he's changing his outfit, which is a bit strange. Not against it, doesn't matter.
I think it will be his main doctor outfit.
Yes, I think he'll be in that more than the others.
That might be... I mean, it's early doors, but that's up there for me in New Who in terms of looks.
It's pretty great.
I really like how he looks. It just looks... It's captured so well, the colour so vibrant, particularly after the dual chipnell era to actually have
I think it works
vibrant
with
colour.
I think it works with the color as well. The fact they've made the TARDIS so bright.
Yeah,
Like,
and just the little minor details like the necklace and the nail tattoos and the rings.
it's
like,
very
such,
shooty as well. Like, he definitely chose this.
which is their logic. It's
Yeah.
like, and I think it's nice because I remember David said he wanted the lung coat for pocket acting, but also I just think the lung coat suits the Doctor. It just cuts a really cool silhouette. And
Yeah.
I never like.
And also,
I'm
he's
not
in
keen.
England a lot and it's cold.
Exactly. Oh, but that's also it. It's that I think I remember David saying
They
that,
shoot in Cardiff at 5 in the morning.
that for location shooting it'd be good to have a reason to have a coat on. You can just take it off if you're hot.
It sounds like we don't super love Ruby, mainly because we just have no idea what the fuck's going on.
I don't know what's going on with her, and which is why I was a little bit disappointed. The actress, the character, the chemistry, it all seems there. We're ready to look.
It could be the same reason. I don't know how everyone else felt, but I didn't love Clara when she first came along. She felt too perfect. She felt too... Like, there was almost no drama in her life, because I guess we never met her family for most part.
Didn't to the very end.
Yeah.
Like,
So, like, she was
the end of
pretty
Matt
much...
Smith.
She was, like, the perfect companion, and that really grinded my gears originally. So, Ruby Sunday kind of feels the same. She's too perfect, whereas I guess Rose had some baggage. She had that home life from the very beginning. She was tied down with Mickey. He's like, don't go. And
Then
she's
he
like,
goes.
ooh, really, still gonna go. Sorry, mate.
Yeah.
And like, there's a lot holding her there, whereas Ruby Sunday kind of just gallivants off without saying goodbye to her foster mum. And her mum
yeah.
said goodbye to 33 other kids, but she's like, but you're the one that stuck around. I'm so glad you stayed. And then Ruby's like, yeet.
Yeah,
It was
it's-
strange.
I wonder. I'm shocked we haven't saw some interview of Russell going, there's a long history of foster parents being evil in fantasy. Like, look at Harry Potter. And in
Yeah,
this one, my foster parents
My
are
foster
lovely,
parents are
which
easy.
is fine.
I feel like I knew more about the foster mum than I did Ruby.
Yeah.
Like, Ruby,
I think that's-
foster mum had more connection to the world.
I didn't connect with Ruby, which was weird. And I wanted to. Once again, I just want a non-special Doctor Who. I just want a problem of the week, what's going on.
That's why it's a bit unfair that Christmas you're probably not going to get that.
Goblins have come to take away... It's a simple setup. Goblins
Yeah.
have come to take the baby, to eat the baby.
Well, that was one thing I did say during the episode. I was like, oh, are the goblins going to just take the baby? Because that's a good way to get you into the adventure. Because like, you're going to chase a baby if someone takes a baby.
Yeah, I was expecting maybe like a labyrinth kind of thing, Probably the funniest line, like, who sees a ladder in the sky? Yeah, I'll have a go at that, babes.
Yep.
Which people have pointed out, like...
That he said, babes. Oh.
No, and then Clara did the same in one of her Christmas episodes when she was the time travel Clara.
Oh, yeah.
She climbs the ladder into the TARDIS.
Yep.
I thought the glove introduction was funny, and
I liked the glove more than I thought I would because he goes very doctory in sciences a lot.
That's what
he's
I
like. All of my
liked.
weight is now in the glove. I'm like, that actually makes sense.
And
it doesn't
as a
obviously,
man
but
who's
that makes Doctor Who
climbing.
sense.
Yeah, and I actually really liked.
But it came back 5 times. I was like, damn, what has this man ever done before these gloves?
Yeah, and you can tell it's Russell back writing the Doctor because I could definitely hear Prime number 10 Doctor doing this. The whole it just feels Russell like he's looking at something, he's figuring it out. While he's figuring it out, he has to go rush and do this. So I really like the whole. He's looking at the knots, he's breaking it down. He's
Yeah, I
understanding
think you
it
said
straight
before you
away.
really like the Doctor touching buttons and like flicking through stuff. So
Yeah,
this was very much
and-
he's just fiddling with things
Yeah,
until
and
it
he's
works.
making sense. He goes, "Oh, it's like a network. It's like the same way we look
it's
at
their
wires.
electricity and wires."
Yeah, so I thought that was really good that he's a 2,000-year-old god. So the moment he finds something new, he's excited to figure it out. So the whole, it's gorgeous, Matt. The way when David in the Fireplace Man one, where they uncover it and he's almost excited.
He's figuring it out along with you,
And he's
and it all makes sense in regards to you. Whereas Jodie had the problem. Sorry, Jodie's
This is
error
what I
had
wanted
the
to
problem.
ask. Was any of this in there?
No, Jodie's error had the problem of she would say stuff and make stuff up that you couldn't draw that connection to. It wasn't like she was figuring it out along with you. It was kind of like she's just like, I get it, and then she says it. Whereas that's something that I think it was just Chibnall's writing probably, that he was always just like, so she's going to now
The
explain
Doctor just
the
understands.
thing. Whereas, or like she'd figure it out in front of you, but it would all be in her head, and she'd be like, like that's just boring to watch. But,
Yeah,
like, someone
with him
tinkering, someone fiddling,
and-
someone using their companion as a sounding board, which is what the companion is really. It's someone to say sciencey stuff to. So the Doctor goes, say that again. Or
Yeah.
like it's all of that. But
It's meant to be the idea that the companion the Doctor needs that human touch.
yeah, he needs an idiot.
instinct.
I think
Yeah.
Capaldi probably even says something around like he needs an idiot around to bring a new light because he can't think like that.
This is our first time properly Shooty in the outfit by himself. He's the Doctor. This is him. It's Shooty's first solo.
Yep, he's already figured himself out. He knows exactly who he is.
And so far, he's a Russell. He's a Russell Davies Doctor.
You liked him? Okay.
I liked him. I think I'm going to like him more as we see more of him in different situations.
Yeah, I think it's a challenging episode to show because it is a Christmas special. It's like, how much can you really bring forward?
And they just didn't give him much because, in that first episode with Rose, there's that whole shot of, it's a one shot of walking from their apartment to the TARDIS, where she's just asking him questions like, who are you, what's going on, and we're just getting the simple two people talking while he takes the plastic arm away. And in this, as you said, she's just immediately very accepting of him. I'm the Doctor.
She gets to the rooftop and goblins have taken a new baby sister,
rolling with it,
and she's just like, "Did you just hiss at me?" Like she's angry at them, but like in a sarcastic.
And then
but maybe that's the whimsy of Christmas.
Whimsy of Christmas, and then this is a world in which, for her, because she's 20, she's grown up where every Christmas something weird happens.
I guess, for the last 20 years.
And, when we first meet Bernard Cribbins, he goes, everyone's left because something always weird happens at Christmas.
The Voyage of the Damned don't come out on Christmas. Something always terrible happens.
So then by that logic, if you're saying that, there's been lots of alien invasions in the last 20 years, like Daleks and all that, but then they never reference it because then it makes it messy.
They don't want to bog it down because this is season 1, baby.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't sold on him. I think he's very good.
I think he's going to be great.
But
I'm waiting for him to be great.
It's the potential. It's like, I can see potential there. And when he was going all sciencey with the ropes, when he's talking about the glove, all that feels very doctory. I'm just wondering whether the episode bogged itself down in other stuff that didn't let him shine.
They probably should have just stripped it down even more.
Yeah, it should have been an even more simple process.
Which is what he's done every time. Make it simple and just give these two reasons to be talking to each other.
Well, that's kind of what the specials did. Like the special 2. It's just them on a spaceship. It's like, let them do their thing. Whereas, I don't know. He talks a lot about this episode being very supernatural. In the behind the scenes and stuff, Russell T Davies is constantly like, the toy maker has unlocked this supernatural realm almost. And I'm like, I don't know, Goblin still felt pretty sci-fi. Especially when you're talking about ropes being... Because we've had the witches in the Shakespeare Code. The witches use the English language as math, and as like spells are math, basically math of the universe. So the math of the universe is identical, in my opinion, to ropes being wires. Like both of those work completely well in the magical sci-fi realm of Doctor Who. You don't need to suddenly think of this as a very supernatural season.
And weren't we fighting gods of Asgard?
Yes, we've met Satan, like
Santa Claus.
We've met Santa and Satan. So I don't know whether he's going to move into it too much or whether it's just the fact he took a 10-year break, but it just feels a little strange for him to be talking about Doctor Who as hard sci-fi. Like, Star Trek is hard sci-fi. Star Wars is fantasy. Doctor Who is probably the middle ground.
Yes.
Where you just make shit up and then you make it work.
Yeah, because it can be a historical, it can be future, it can be everything. Yeah.
So it feels weird that he's talking about it like that. What do you think about the Goblin song? You said you liked it when it came out as a YouTube video separately. You were like, this is pretty good. Like, you're like, I'm excited.
Did
it hit as hard?
I don't know. I think I was excited because it was like silly Doctor Who-y stuff, which we haven't had in a while. Just Doctor Who be a little bit silly.
In context of the episode, though, did it work as well?
I think it's meant to be because in fantasy, goblins are meant to sing fairy tales and be all like that, right? It's a fairy tale.
I think he's wanted a musical number for a very long time.
That's it, but then it just became a mod, and then...
I didn't mind the Goblin song. It was dumb, but I'm like, cool, whatever. But then the Doctor starts singing, and then Millie starts singing. Sure, she's musical. She plays the piano, but apparently she's also very good on the fly.
Yeah, I
much
forgot that until you brought it up, actually.
You forgot the singing?
It was such a, for me,
you almost got away with it.
Largely forgettable.
I didn't like it. It was too much for me. The boys got pipes, though.
I think it's just
they can both fucking sing, and we should have had a musical episode. We should have a whole musical episode. You haven't seen the Marvels, but in the Marvels, they go to a planet where they communicate through song.
Okay.
Like, CW Flash, they had an episode where they got transported into a magical realm where they had to sing all the time. That would be more interesting because like they can both sing, they're both great singers, but I don't know why we're using it in this episode. It just felt strange because it wasn't like the goblins had to not kill them because they were singing. There was no reason for it. It was just they started singing and everyone was like, oh yeah.
Then they started singing and then they escape. because he flips the glove logic and makes them themselves heavy, so then they get to go down.
He had undone the master knot, and then used the gloves again, because the gloves are the most powerful thing in this episode by far.
And they go down, and she's immediately fine. She's just had the weirdest 2-3 hours of her life.
She doesn't ask any questions. As
when you think about how Rose just ran out of a building at first, and that building blew up, and that was...
She was very scattered, like very concerned with what the fuck is going on.
And then he appears at the door, and then she goes on a whole...
Or Donna screaming what the fuck is going on constantly.
I don't blame Russell, because he kind of wrote the perfect first companion episode with Rose. So I understand that you can't just do that again, because every time, like, why didn't they just... I'm like,
across the room?
He did it. He already did it in Rose.
And Rose is just like over there, and he's like... God damn.
I already did it. It's weird because in Amy as well, we don't see her parents because the parents aren't there, then they're back, but we don't see.
But that's part of the fairy tale, yeah.
That's part of the fairy tale thing of escape.
And they do explain it away by they were eaten by the timey-wimey wall thing.
So they were always meant to be there.
And obviously she doesn't think about it because she can't, they've been erased. It's just magical realism.
Yeah. So they go back down to the apartment, all seems absolutely fine again, and there's that weird bit where the doctor's like, oh great, yeah, they've gone, awesome. I was like, oh, they've just gone.
The pacing was off.
Yeah. And then the whole, like, they're saying coincidences. So because we keep pointing out coincidences, I'm like, oh, it's going to get bad again because they're feeding off it. And then he goes, oh, no, they're gone. Great.
That was them saying goodbye.
And then all of a sudden...
Ruby's gone. Very obviously gone.
He runs outside. He runs back in, and now the whole thing's changed. That's because the Doctor, while being a Time Lord, exists out of time.
Yeah.
And isn't affected
by... Like Mavity.
Like mentioning Mavity again.
That way he can go back and fix it. Otherwise it'd be it'd be stupid.
It'd be stupid.
Yeah.
So then he simply goes back and fixes it. And for some reason, instead of it being he goes back up to the ship to deal with him again, he just pulls it down. Which I imagine some people...
does a murder.
Does a murder, and they all go away. They all just die on the...
what's the movie? He hot fuzz...
That's what I was thinking.
Sticks a hole...
And it's weird how casually it just went through him.
I was like, when it was happening, I'm like, oh god, are they going to stick this through this guy's butthole?
Yeah.
And then it murders. So basically the Doctor pulls down the ship because the gloves, instead of... They go a bit far. So the gloves, when they're first introduced, can put all of your weight in them,
which allows you to hold on to things.
To me, somehow makes sense. I'm like, yep, all of your
then
weight.
I'm just left wondering
that's
why
your center of balance now.
Yeah, but then I'm left wondering why doesn't he just have those, like my granddad used to have,
all
like
the time.
You know, like
especially
the leather gloves.
If they can make you as heavy as a ship, that seems like it's going to come in handy.
I like the idea that the Doctor, like you said, I've made them. I always like the idea of the Doctor being fidgety.
Bit of a tinkerer, yeah.
We always see him tinkering with the TARDIS, wires around his neck.
Yeah.
I always like that little touch, so I'm happy
that was from
maybe
the design of the TARDIS as well. The fact you had that whole under section worked really well.
Good.
He pulls down the entire ship and stabs a hole through the Goblin King.
And that's it.
But it's okay, because the ship fades away.
Conveniently.
Because of magic.
Because of magic.
That way you can have that crazy scene where you're like, holy shit, but the Doctor hasn't committed murder because the ship fades away.
Yeah, and then Ruby gets picked back up.
And then he rescues Ruby.
He doesn't stop the mom.
Doesn't stop the mom for some reason. Well, okay, we know the reason. It's because they want this to be an ongoing thing throughout the season for some reason.
With the fantasy thing, is she meant to be then I saw a theory, the idea that she's a changeling, and changelings are fairies love in the fairy history. Fairies love...
Oh, you think we're going that deep into the...
Fairies love children, so they will sneak into the nursery and switch them. They'll take the human child and leave a changeling that looks just like the child.
Oh, so Ruby's an alien, that Ruby which is why Ruby's okay with everything.
And that's why there's no DNA or anything of Ruby.
Oh, can't match it, but they didn't notice she was... I guess her DNA could just be random.
Yeah,
maybe. Strange, but yeah. I mean, that's how they resolve the plot, so...
It's a very simple plot. Because then when they go back...
It's not a plot.
And she's like, oh, I'm just a foster mum. I don't like being foster mum. I'm just in it for the money.
Ruby made her life much better.
Like, that scene felt like we need to stretch this out for 50 minutes.
Yeah, that's what's about the pacing. Because like the pacing at the get-go seems like pretty standard. Like, it's what you'd expect.
Oh, he looks so good. I'm sorry, but he looks...
Oh, in his outfit? Yeah.
He just looks so cool. It might be my favourite one. Like, it just looks really cool to me. I think it's really thin on the plot, which is usually fine if the character stuff's great. And so I was overall a little bit disappointed that the Ruby Sunday character stuff isn't as good, because you can have her be happy and loving her foster life, but then for her, when she's told, sorry, we actually don't, because clearly she wants to know who her mum is because she's went on the telly to figure it out. So when she's told, we actually don't know anything, I'm really sorry, then that should maybe be her I know, like, she's in a band. There must be some, even if it's a basic.
So you're
I just
thinking,
want to
like,
go see the world. I don't want to be stuck in London. As you just said, when, you can imagine.
You could have a I've never fit in, but then it seems like she does fit in.
But then, as you just said, there's the line with her when her mum says, "All my kids are left, but not you, Ruby. Good old Ruby sticks around." And the idea that they didn't just have her then go, "Yeah, good old Ruby." Like,
yeah, well, that's not her character. She's too perfect in a way.
Yeah,
she's
but
too
I know
fantastic.
maybe he's a bit tread that we've done it before, but you could have it be that she's.
We need a reason for her to leave.
She's in a band that isn't doing that well, so you could have had it be that the band isn't. I mean, this happens, but when a character, she's meant to be musical, but they didn't really feel to be anything particularly musical about her. But who knows? If we're meeting the Beatles in one of the episodes, maybe we should get on the keyboards.
It'll come up again probably.
Yeah,
the plot was. I don't know. It's very forgettable. It feels very thin, but not in the way that like it's not a simple. This is the bad guy. They want this because of this. It was very. They wanted a very whimsical coincidence thing, and then they were defeated so easily, but not by like the flick of a button. It's like, oh, they were still up there, then they chose to leave, but then they went to do another thing.
Right on.
It's a little convoluted. It's like weak and convoluted at the same time.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just didn't grab me like I feel like it should have.
Yeah, I think I went in so excited that finally just having a new Doctor again after years of not being in Doctor Who land, and then just having and as I said, he only ever does amazing first companion Doctor episodes, so it's a bit disappointed that he maybe missed the mark a little bit in some areas, just in terms of the Ruby stuff. So when the Doctor fixes, he goes back, everything's fine, the crack's still there, but everyone is happy. She then does that whole, wait, who was he? Anyway, like, he was just sort of there.
Waits till the last minute.
When was Harry Houdini? He was 1920s,
that
right?
didn't dawn her till then.
Yeah, and then he mentioned how time travellers are amazing, and then runs downstairs, and the TARDIS is inexplicably still there, even though the Doctor's like, maybe I'm the bad luck.
But I'm going to bring another kid along with me.
Yeah, so I expected a Donna, hey,
like,
oi,
yeah.
And then makes him come back, but no.
It probably doesn't help. We've seen nothing but whimsy from this Doctor. Like, we didn't get any passion in this one.
We didn't get him in the TARDIS fiddling.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. The Timeless Child reference. The I'm an orphan too. Oh well,
yeah,
I
really beat that to death.
I just feel like it's Russell just trying to see if we can do something with it, or it's a reason why these two have connected.
Yeah, they're heavily-handedly going over their connection, and they've also. I don't know whether he realized that he got rid of all the Doctor's trauma because he went through therapy.
Never did it.
A big thing that worked about the 2005 onwards was because the Time War. It was like this big heavy past.
She's trying to do that again.
He's trying to give the Doctor some more intrigue than just it's a man running around, because that's still interesting, but it's a lot more interesting if you have another layer to it.
Yeah, I'm disappointed there wasn't much really to take from this other than
it wasn't very epic. Like, maybe it's also because we had 3 specials for the past 3 weeks,
and all of them have been pretty.
It culminated pretty explosively, and there wasn't like a year break until we see the new one. It was literally like,
I feel like those specials, because they were filmed like over a year ago. They could have
they probably should have come out over a year ago.
Yeah. And then we could have had Shooty be the Here We Are Again, and then we get the new season in May. That preview looks really expensive, really fun. I have heard it's 8 episodes, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Possibly, yeah, we'll find out soon.
But the Disney money. But if you got... I know it sounds bad because I don't feel like we haven't really said much, but then I don't think the show, this episode, gave us much.
It was a weird one. Well, okay, one thing it did give us was Mrs. Flood.
Oh, shit, yeah. The one who waits.
Who could she be? I've heard she's the master. I've heard she's the Rani. I've heard she's the one who waits. If she's the one that the toy maker was scared of, that's fucking funny.
She's Ruby's mom.
Yeah, it's like...
It's because she's annoyed the TARDIS is there. Why have you put this here? Blah, blah, blah. Then she sees the Doctor. She's, you look like you've lost £1 and found a 6pence.
I don't know what that means.
6pence is less than £1.
Okay.
So you've lost something good, then you found something less.
That's a dumb saying.
It's just, I've never heard it before.
Like, she's everything and she's nothing, and I don't care.
She looks down the barrel.
I'm hoping it's just a whimsical little. It's
Russell
Christmas.
Said,
it's like
never seen the TARDIS before.
It's just. I hope it's just Santa at the end of the Peter Capaldi one being like, "Oh yeah, I'm real." What of it? And then he just buggers off, and you're like, wait, was he real?
Because I always like the Russell, that the knife doctor who says I'm not, pink bike when you were 12.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that line.
Like,
It's
it's good, and it's like...
Because the Doctor is he's Santa Claus, he's everything rolled into one at times.
Even if she is, like, the Rani, this is a stupid way to introduce her.
I think ultimately this will be if it wasn't a Christmas episode, it'd be kind of a forgotten episode.
My wife said that kind of felt like a filler episode. Yeah. Like, if we hadn't just come off the back of 3 specials, that would feel like a filler. And I'm like, yeah.
If this was, I tell him it's better because we were waiting for a year. It's finally Shooty's first episode. It was this.
I guess it could be. It's the second Christmas special of a Doctor, where it's just like, oh, that was fine.
I think they missed the trick not just simply doing an 11th hour of Shooty.
You want to see him learn.
Yeah, you're not giving him a regeneration.
Finding himself is kind of half the charm.
Yeah, and all that. I think, obviously, he's incredibly dashing, and
he knows it too. He knows he is very charming. He holds himself,
like, no matter what pose he's in, he looks awesome. I can't get over how cool he actually looks. Like, I think he just cuts such a cool image.
So, merchandising opportunities. The most toy Sonic, not a screwdriver ever. The universal remote.
Lots of buttons.
Adam Sandler's Click.
Sandler's Click. Yeah, they joked about it.
I hate it. I only really hate it because it's so different to the others.
Yeah,
and if you're still going to call it a Sonic screwdriver, we had the Sonic glasses, so we've done stupid Sonic things before.
I like in the video.
It has a proverb.
It's from his home
It's
country.
Very detailed in that preview, but in all of these, it's a toy, and you can tell it's a toy
very toyish.
because he turns the light on the front of it, and it looks like a keychain LED. It looks garbage.
It is, and I remember Peter Capaldi spoke of being quite disappointed when he became the Doctor that he got Matt Smith's old TARDIS, except with some bookcases, and he got Matt Smith's old Sonic. Until he got a new one, which people didn't like, and then he mainly became the glasses guitar one. He found himself eventually, but I can maybe understand that. Hey, we want to make sure Shooty gets everything new, so he gets a new TARDIS, he gets a new Sonic.
I don't know who decided that, because obviously he wouldn't have designed it from the start. He definitely designed the detailing, like the proverb and everything. But it's very toy-like. And that's just my main problem with it. Even if it was different, then that'd be fine. But
I wouldn't mind if he went
toy-like.
Hands-free, because the Doctor has went hands-free.
It would have been nice if there was no Sonic, because
he relied on it a lot here. It was
judging off the specials, they're going to use it a lot. He uses it as a lantern. It's like a bright room, and he still turns it on to see better.
My TARDIS went bing when it felt the diamond. And
I
like that.
It goes ding when it sees stuff. Like this
I love that.
So it was a little bit like that.
Stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, I was mainly just annoyed that it was a keychain light the whole episode, and he just pointed at things and didn't do anything.
Yeah, it did feel like weirdly Tamagotchi. Like it should have had that weird cheap metal ball keychain around it.
But it didn't make force fields, so that's a plus in the Sonic column anyway.
It's annoying because as they said on the official podcast, when we
got
a little look at David's new, it looked really cool.
I liked it.
I would have liked having it. So
it was kind of an amalgamation of 10, 11, and 12s.
So I think overall for this episode, it's a positive shrug from me.
I'm left where I was after the giggle, where it's I can see Shooty's potential, but I'm not feeling it yet.
Do you want him?
I'm very nothing on Ruby Sunday, which is disappointing.
Disappointing considering just how excited they've been. We fly really well together.
Also, it seems like they're besties, but they're besties that are the same age and they've known each other forever.
And they're actually they're 10 years apart.
And there's no interesting, like, going from Donna and David's banter and, like, the fact they know each other, and like it felt really fresh and strong.
It's weird that it speaks to Matt Smith because he was 26, 27, Karen Gilligan was 23, and yet this one feels more like kids in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Which is so...
That's again, Matt Smith felt old beyond his years, and he felt alien as hell. Whereas Shooty to me just feels charming so far.
Charming.
I like when he was sciencing. Yeah, that was nice, but I don't know.
I wonder if there's a commitment to do that since Jodie's Doctor was a bit of a nothing. That the idea of once again as I'm saying, when was Doctor Who like? We need to make Doctor Who successful like it was with David Tennant and Matt Smith. Why? What did they have? They were young and sexy. So let's get a young and sexy Doctor in. Let's get a young, good-looking companion in, and let's be on our way.
The Disney marketing team is loving life right now.
Yeah,
Whereas I think it would have been interesting if the Doctor was younger than their companion. Like, one interesting thing was Jodie.
Well, he should have been. I wanted him to be the only companion. The idea of having an
everyone
older,
did. Everyone was like,
older,
"Fuck these two annoying kids off."
a doctorish
and just have-
age. He would, and then everyone assumes he's the Doctor all the time.
Yeah, or it's like
just-
they would talk to him, and then he'd be like, because he was a dummy. Like, he was a dummy. Whereas in this, it would have been interesting.
So annoyed they never did that.
If an old lady had to hang out with this sexy young Doctor.
I don't know how much Disney. I know Disney have read the scripts because Russell said that Disney looked over it, said rewrite it, make it bigger. We can afford it.
Honestly,
So-
this episode could have been with bigger.
So Disney seems to have, even though they're not in control, seem to be allowed to look at the scripts and give
They're more than
ideas and
happy
give more
to.
money.
Yeah.
Which is why already in that
And where
50
does that
second
stop?
in that 50-second thing, you like it looked pretty expensive.
Yeah.
It looked awesome. Like the idea you've got.
It was-
I forget
it was
the
so
actor's
quick, I have
name.
no idea.
The guy from Mindhunter's there. You've got the Beatles. You have it looked like Rose Noble working in unit to me. I mean, you'll freeze frame it now. It looks like Rose Noble to me. This looks fun. The Beatles didn't sound like the Beatles. If that was meant to be, I'm like, that doesn't sound like any of them.
It's
But-
expensive.
But yeah, who knows?
Deep fake them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the same place I was at the Giggle.
Yeah.
I think Shooty didn't give me any more than he'd already given me.
He's not bad.
Which I'm worried about.
He's not bad.
But it still just feels like potential, which I think is scary.
I'll tell you
to
what
me.
it is. It felt like we'd already known this Doctor for a season.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's the second Christmas special a Doctor would do,
Yeah.
where it's just like, oh, that was alright.
That was all right.
something to do
It
on
didn't
Christmas
feel
Day.
like, hey, here he is. And
Hey,
the reason
I'm the
why
Doctor.
the reason why we didn't have this fully from Ruby's perspective, even though we should have, he was always just there.
They want it to feel like a brand new season, a brand new fresh thing. But Russell's bringing his baggage. He's bringing the fact that he already knows the Doctor, that we already know the Doctor. So instead of doing a full reboot, it's a soft reboot, and that's just not carrying over well enough.
It should have been a hard commitment like Rose was. Like
Yeah.
we're just starting
Just
fresh
like
again.
pretend nothing
and just
else
have
exists.
a few more little character beats in there so it makes sense as to why she gets in the TARDIS in the end.
I think that would have been the best, yeah. So
Be-
I think that's where the problem stems from. So we're both still super excited for it.
Oh, so I'm
And it's
honestly,
only 5 months.
Oh God, May.
But this did
Fuck's
let me
sake.
down, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, overall, sadly, not much to say.
Yeah, yeah.
Shooty will, I do vehemently believe that Shooty will be really good.
Like and subscribe.